and he's just scrapped around. He's had a different job almost every year, but he's always moved up just a tiny bit.
Well, that's good because we're live now, Greg. So,
okay. There's my take right there.
Hang on. Hold on.
Were we on route?
I've got echo, so give me 1 second, guys. Okay, I think it's gone now. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, good. Yeah. I have too many things going on. Welcome to Alpine Garage Sportscast. We are just an hour away from kickoff for what I consider, and I think all of us in this room consider to be a must-win game. Now, every game obviously is a must-win game, but this game is a must-win game because if we're going to go to play postseason, we're going to have to win against Washington State and Utah, both on the road. And this is going to be a tough game for a lot of reasons, but it is also one of the most winnable games we have this year. And I honestly didn't think it was going to, at the beginning of the season, I had us possibly even losing to Washington State because of, they had a great start with 4-0 start. So, but now things have changed, tides have turned. So let's go into this. So Washington State University, we are in Pullman, Washington, which is far eastern Washington. Elevation 2,600 feet, so it's not sea level, but it's not super high up. Martin Stadium, it's a very tiny stadium, Greg. I didn't know you know this or not. 32,000 people that stadium holds. Martin Stadium, it's a very tiny stadium, Greg. Yeah, it's like one of the smallest stadiums.
Wow.
In the pack, yeah, in the pack, and also. Oddly enough, and a little tidbit,
wow.
It is one of only 3 schools that has a double post goal post, meaning that there's 2 stays into the ground. LSU and FSU are the only 2 other schools that have that. Let's see. The public address announcer for Washington State is also the mayor of Pullman, Washington.
Oh, that's weird. Wow.
Yeah. So there is an interesting tidbit for you. I'm hearing some reverb back on your side, Greg, possibly.
Oh, that's weird. Wow.
Yeah. So there is an interesting tidbit for you. I'm hearing some reverb back on Greg.
Yeah, I am too. Oh, that's weird. Wow.
So where the series is 7-6 Washington State. That canceled it right there, whatever that was. So Washington State is up 1 game on us, and the last time we played was 2019, and Washington State shellacked us 41-10. And I remember that game. That was a terrible game. That was the last time we actually played Washington State. And so that's kind of what we have now. You said that you had some information on Coach Dickert from Washington State, right? Can't hear you, buddy.
All right. Sorry, we were on mute.
I
was trying to figure out the problem was I was streaming you and I was watching you on here at the same time. I'm sorry about that. That was my fault. You were on one of my other tabs going in the background.
I was doing the same thing, and that's the problem that I had earlier, too.
Yeah, okay, my bad. Live and learn on that one. Dickert's a fascinating guy. He's a Wisconsin guy. He has bounced around a ton, but everywhere he's gone, he's moved up slightly. He's had an interesting path. His dad was a superintendent of schools. He was a big football guy when he went through high school. Played for a small school in Wisconsin. He was a backup for a long time, came in 1 game and played well, and then had an appendicitis, had to have surgery right away, got operated on, came back 2 weeks later and was playing again. So he's a tough guy. Players love him. He's a good coach. He came in and all the COVID stuff when that was going on a couple of years ago at Washington State. He had worked his way up to there. That's his first Big 5 school that he's worked for, and when he worked his way into the head coaching job kind of temporarily, he beat Washington, actually beat down Washington pretty handily in that big Apple Cup game from a couple of years ago that some of you will remember. And man, they gave him the job, and he's been about a 500 coach since then. He's done pretty well, but his players love him. They play hard for him, and they love to play wide open. They love that style of offense that he calls and everything. So he's a fascinating character, Jake Dickert.
So yeah, I didn't really know that much about him. You never really hear his name a whole lot, especially this year, and especially after they started tanking. You heard a lot about him early when they were winning because they started out hot like we did. They started out hotter than we did. They started out 4-0. So, but then as soon as they started that slide, man, you just didn't hear anything more about him. Same with Cam Ward. I mean, you hear a lot about Cam Ward up early. He was in the Heisman watch for a little while, and then
he was
poof, just
he's
like
a
that.
Talented guy. So, yeah, for sure. He's a great quarterback. He's a talented guy. It's always a little bit of a red flag to me when your quarterback has the most rush attempts on your team, which is what we're seeing at Washington State. I can't imagine that that's ideally what they're wanting. He's not very efficient running the ball. He's very efficient throwing the ball. But it's interesting the path that they've gone. You talked about how these two programs have kind of paralleled each other a little bit with the wins over Colorado State and the early win over a big name Power 5 team. Washington State had that upset of Wisconsin early in the season, and man, everything was just rolling. And then it's been a little bit tougher through the middle of the schedule. But these two teams are, interestingly, it's fascinating how parallel the seasons have gone for the two of them.
Yeah, I think Coach Prime even brought that up too in his presser. He was talking about how when you're looking at the stats, you're looking at, the rushing offense, rushing defense, passing offense, passing defense, that they're literally within probably 20 places of each other in the top, in the top 130 schools. And when you're looking at just a quarterback play alone, I mean, I think I wrote this down. Hang on. Cam Ward has 3,138 yards, and Shedeur has 3,144 yards. So they're literally identical.
Wow.
Cam Ward is his passer rating is a 145.6, and Shedeur's is a 151.4.
Wow.
So they're very parallel. The schools are actually built really. I mean, the teams are built very identical too, because the rushing offense is almost identical as well. They're terrible at the rush. They are horrible at rushing the ball. Same thing. We don't rush the ball a whole lot, and when we do, we don't get a lot of yards out of it. But what that looks like is they've got basically their two top rushers. Neither one of them has over 210 yards for the season, so they're not a running threat.
No.
Their big runner is Nakia Watson,
right,
who has 210 yards and a 3-yard per average on his rush. So not really anything that we need to worry about. No, obviously we need to not let them hang 150 on us, 150 yards in rushing. But I think with our defense, the way it's been playing the last few games, I don't think that's going to be a huge issue. What do you think about that running game?
I think you're right. I mean, Watson hasn't even led the team in rushing, but he's their leading rusher. But 46 yards a game against Oregon State was one of his best performances. I mean, that's not going to get the job done. And if they're having any success running, then that's a bad sign. But I think Colorado will take care of business against that. They just are not balanced enough to get the job done, and that's really been it's been biting them in these last few games and their losses. They can't establish that run. They can't control the ball very well. They do throw the ball well. Ward does a great job. He protects the ball. His TD to INT ratio is outstanding. He protects it. He doesn't throw it into dangerous situations, and he goes through his progressions and reads really well. So that's where the threat comes from is Ward picking apart those defensive backs. And so it's going to be a good test for the Buffs, for that Buffs secondary. But I think, I still always get the feeling that that Colorado secondary is despite the rankings, I think they're underrated. I think they're better than what their rankings are showing right now. It's going to be a really interesting test.
Yeah, I think you're talking about their receiver. Let's talk about the receivers for a second. So they have Lincoln Victor, who we talked about off air for a little
We
bit.
did
735 yards with a let's see, what is he running? He's running a 10-yard per average catch.
Yeah.
Then you have Kyle Williams, 702 yards. So they've got two over 700 yards.
Yep.
13.4 average every time he touches the ball. And then the third one is Josh Kelly, 690 yards. So you might as well call him a 700-yard receiver.
Yep.
And he has a 14.6 yard per average catch.
Yep.
And he's the guy that'll get behind the safeties pretty easy. That Josh Kelly guy,
Yeah.
he's the guy we need to worry about. Even though Lincoln Victor gets the ball more, it's on a lot of slants and posts and stuff like that. So we can usually catch up to that. But if this Kelly guy gets past us, it's going to be a problem.
Well,
and the way
Kelly,
that Cam throws the ball, it's going to be
Kelly,
bad.
the last two games, Kelly has been the guy that they've been going to more and more. You're right. He has, as the season's gone on, he's established himself more and more as a trusted receiver. So you're absolutely right. I mean, every team you play is going to have a good number one receiver, but who are those second and third guys? And Kelly's the one that we've got to shut him down. I think that Victor's a real deal. He's going to get some of his yards. This is too good of a passing offense for them not to have some success there. But, limiting the other guys and making just one guy beat you, I think that's a strategy that Coach Prime is probably looking at going into this game.
Yeah, I agree. When you're looking at our receivers, Xavier Weaver is still our number one guy, 867 yards. So he'll end up with 1,000 for the year, 13.3 yard average. Jimmy Horn, 536 yards right at a 10-yard per average catch. And then Hunter is coming up in there. Obviously, he missed some games. He's 532 yards, and he's right at about a little bit under 12 yards per catch. So obviously, he's our money guy.
Yeah.
And they have some pretty good defensive backs, Washington State does. But when I say pretty good, they haven't gone up against the likes of a Weaver or a Hunter in a while.
Right.
So I think that we have them on that, right?
I agree.
I really don't think that's going to be a big deal.
I totally agree with you there. I think that I think Colorado really truly has the talent edge here. With all of their things being equal, I think you got to go with the edge on talent a little bit. I do wish the game was in Colorado at Folsom Field, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be interesting. Typically, you're going to go with the more talented team here, and that more talented team is Colorado. I don't want to give away what my pick is yet, but you're probably getting a sense of that.
Yes, I think so too. It's their defense. We were talking earlier about the fact that they're on a 6-game slide, so they're we're on a slide, but that last game against Arizona, we had that in hand. If there was just a couple of things different, we made a field goal when we missed one, and there's a couple of small coaching issues that happened, but not anything like gigantic. From the standpoint of, the game getting out of hand, we had that game wrapped up the entire time.
Yeah.
So that said, this game, I think we're not going to be making those mistakes, and that's going to make us that much more dangerous when we get into the fourth quarter. I think we're going to go in to the fourth quarter with a lead, and we're going to put it down hard in the fourth quarter. So at this point, too, let's see. Their offensive line is a big question mark right now because one of their star tackles went out.
Yep.
And so they had to flip the line a little bit. They moved the starting guard to a starting tackle, and they put in a second string guard in there. And that guard just got beat all game last game. This is Washington State we're talking about.
Right.
And I can't remember it was Cal. They play Cal. Cal had 6 sacks on Cam Ward. So, and this is Cal. Cal does not have a very good defense.
No.
So I think in this game, if they didn't make any other adjustments, I think that this is at least a 4 to a 5 sack game for our defense. I
And
think
that can
Jordan
make a
Dominic is
huge
going to
difference.
smack
That
him. Yeah.
that can make a huge difference when it comes to this game. You're absolutely right. Like getting pressure on him, forcing him to rush his throws, or getting him out and making him throw on the run where he's not comfortable. That really could slow down that passing game a little bit, and that may very well end up being the deciding factor in the game.
I think that will be. I think that's going to be the key to this game. I think that if we can do what Cal did, and we can put Cam Ward on his butt, which I think we can, and we just devastate the left side of that line with blitzes, I think we're going to crush them. They have no running game. They have no running game. We know this. They know that. You know, they may try to pull we're going to run 30 times in this game, but I don't think they will. And I think we're going to blitz a lot. I think if we aren't blitzing a lot, I'd be disappointed. I think we can get Cam in a bad situation.
That point that you just made right there it illustrates why a run game's so important. You know what I mean? Like when you get into these situations, you need to fall back on that running game. They can't do that. They don't have a good enough running game to scare you. So you're absolutely right. I think you've got to, if you're Colorado, you've got to be playing first down and second down like they're third and long, because in essence, they kind of are. You know, I mean, they may try to run the ball some, but nobody in the stadium believes that they're going to run for 150 yards against the Buffaloes. And you know, that right there tells you that you can pin your ears back and you can just go charging at him and try to put him on his butt 5, 6, 7 times a game. I think that's probably what we're going to see. And that could be the deciding factor in the game. I think Colorado has the edge there.
I agree. Let's talk about another key to the game, which is penalties. Okay. So in the last few games, we have been much better. We've received a lot of penalties, but they haven't been critical penalties that cost us a lot of yardage. Yep. And, you know, we've been in the sub 100-yard penalty game, right around 80 yards, 70, 80 yards in most of the games, which is still high, but it's not like it was earlier in the season. So I think that, like the last game, if we can keep those penalties control, then we're going to be doing good. The problem with Washington State is that they only average like 45 yards of penalties per game. They're actually a very well disciplined team from that standpoint, and we just need to not lose everything on penalties. And so that's another one of those points that I wanted to make. And then let's talk about the rushing game. Points to the game, rushing game. Last week, we ran the ball 30 times. We passed it 35 times. As close to a 50-50 split as we have been all season. Every single person that was out there saying that Colorado needs to run the ball, well, we did. And we sucked at running the ball. It was terrible. We did. I mean, we didn't even break 100 yards, and we ran it 30 times. But what it did do was we won time of possession in that game handily. Like, I think we had like 10 minutes more time of possession than Arizona did. And that, to me, is what kept the game close. We took it out of Arizona's offensive hands, and we kept it in ours. We handed it off and just ate that clock. And again, just a couple of mistakes cost us that game last week. It wasn't because of the fact that we couldn't, that we didn't try to run the ball. Right. So I'm going to say again, the biggest for the rest of the year, two more games, we need to run the ball 30 times. We're probably not going to do very well at running the ball, but at very least we will own the clock. And if we can take the clock away from Cam Ward and that offense, then I think we win this game easily. I think we win it easily if we can keep their time of possession in the mid-20s, 24, 25 minutes. If we can do that, that'll put us over 30 minutes. And I think we're going to win this game just solely because of that. What say you, Greg?
Well, and you know that even if you're not running the ball well, even if you're running it average or mediocre, it still establishes things and it still keeps that defense honest. And so it opens up other things. Some of those long pass plays or even those intermediate routes are opened up because those linebackers have to respect the fact that you may run the ball a little bit. So
Exactly.
you're absolutely right. Even if it's, fans get frustrated sometimes when, a run play goes for 2 yards up the middle, but those are important plays. Those things establish things to a defense and keep them in their position where they need to be for that quarterback to then go through his reads on the following play. So that's a big deal. Another thing I wanted to bring up, that's a big disparity between these two, is turnover margin. This is where I think Colorado can get a big advantage. I mean, Colorado has a much better is much better in the turnover margin than Washington State has been, and that is something that I feel like could really play into Colorado's favor as well. A couple turnovers will sure change the game in a hurry, as you know.
Well, we're good at that, right? That's our forte with the defense that we have. And seeing as they're not a running team and Cam Ward's going to try to throw it more than he's going to run it, then I think that gives us a huge, huge, huge opportunity right there to maybe we get 3 picks in this game. If we can get 5 sacks and 3 picks, the game is won.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, and we run it 30 times.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and
those of you who weren't here a minute ago when we talked about their defense, Cal sacked. The University of California sacked Cam Ward in the last game 6 times because the left side of the line it's got a lot of turnover and they've got people playing in positions where they really don't know how to play it. We can take advantage of that, stack that left side of the line, blitz like freaking mad. Get Cam all crazy. He's going to throw the ball up. Travis is going to get a couple of picks out of this. I think Cameron is probably going to get a pick this game. I think it's going to be Pick City. Yeah. So we're going to get 4 or 5. Trevor Woods. Yeah, I think Trevor Woods is going to get at least 1 sack.
Right.
If we're blitzing like we're talking about, I think he's going to get a sack. I think that Jordan Dominic is going to continue to dominate.
What? Sack and an interception for Woods. How about that? He gets 1 sack and 1 interception.
Good, yeah. Absolutely.
It could happen in this game.
Yeah. I think we need to take advantage of it right now. We just need to take advantage of that left side of that line and just blow them up, blow them, make Cam Ward beat us. Keep the ball away from him. Let's run that ball 30 times. Let's keep the ball away from him. One of the interesting notes from one of the pressers is that Coach Prime was talking about Dylan Edwards. And, we've been talking about Dylan Edwards a lot. He's obviously a very dynamic player. We're using him in all the wrong spots, it seems like, or maybe not all the wrong spots, but we've been using him a lot. Last game wasn't quite so bad. The game before that, we had him running between the tackles way too much. And it seemed like Coach Prime acknowledged that and said, yeah, that's really not where Dylan belongs. We need to get him out in space. We need to get him out on the other side of the tackle. If we can get that run game going where we're getting 25 to 30 runs, it's going to suck them all in, leave it open for Dylan Edwards out there for a screen. I think if you can get Dylan Edwards in a screen or out in the flat against Washington State's offense, I think he is going to end up with over 100 passing yards.
Yeah.
Just on screens or short, flat passes out there. So there's another key to the game for me is that they're going to be keying in on Travis Hunter. They're going to be keying in on Xavier Weaver. Let's use that short play around the backs and just really kind of eat that clock and just let our backs do those, do what they do best and not worry about what kind of yardage we're getting out of it. Just freaking eat the clock. Is all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking.
I love the idea of screen pass. I mean, try to catch them being aggressive and catch them trying to pressure Shadur and burn them for it. It definitely could happen. It could be a big game for Edwards. Could be a breakout game for Edwards. I mean, it's a good spot for him. There's no doubt.
Yeah, Edwards is still our number 1 rusher.
Yeah, he is. He leads the team in carries and 4.1 yards per carry, I think, is the last time I saw, which is great. I mean, that's really all you need.
Edwards and Hankerson both. Edwards has 278. Hank has 272, and both of them average 4.1 yards per carry. So you're talking about as even as it can possibly be.
Yeah, they're the same guy.
And a lot of Dylan's came earlier in the season too. A lot of
Yeah,
those
yeah, that's
yards
true.
came earlier in the season. A lot of Hanks came a little later in the season, but I think we're looking good from that standpoint. I know we don't have a good rushing game, but if we do it, we're going to be successful. And this may be the only team we can do it on. They're ranked number 91 in the country against the rush.
Right.
So if we have any opportunity to rush for 150 yards or more this year, it is this game. And I think we need to do that just to check that box and say, hey, we have a running game. We can actually run the ball. This is the team to do it on right here.
And I'll do you one better than that. They rank 110th in passing yards allowed. So, I mean, as bad as they are at stopping the run, they sure give up a lot of yards through the air as well. I mean, seriously, Colorado's offense ought to be licking their chops at this. I mean, this ought to be a lot of fun as far as an offensive game. There's a reason why the over-under on it is 60 points. The odds makers feel like it's going to be a high-scoring game. All the stats point to that as well. But Colorado's got a little more talent on both sides of the ball. So you've got to like where Colorado's sitting in this game.
Hey, listen to this, Greg. So Adam Munster-Tiger's out there in Pullman, and he just tweeted out Cavassier Smoke, Caleb Fourier, which is our tight end, Trevor Woods,
right,
Juju Mitchell, Brendan Gant, Omarion Cooper, Miles Slusher, and Jace Feely either are not in Pullman or are not warming up with the team. Yeah. So Smoke doesn't surprise me because he's been out for a while.
Yeah.
Fourier we haven't seen.
Woods is
huge.
we just talked about him getting a sack and an interception in this game. Okay. All right.
Yeah, and then Juju Mitchell, again, we haven't seen him a whole lot lately. Gant, haven't seen him. He was here and there. Cooper, that's big. That's a big corner for us to not have out there. Miles Slusher, again, haven't seen a lot of him. And Jace Feely, we haven't seen a lot of him either because of the kicking game is just kind of changed for a little while.
Right.
But anyway, I think the big news there. I'm going to give Adam a like on that. Hold on a second. Let me give him Let me give him a like on that. That's good news. Good information.
Omarion Cooper, that's a tough loss. It's gonna, I think this is where you need Cormonty McLean to step up and fill some shoes. Obviously, some of the other, Travis Hunter and some of these others on the defense are going to have to hold their spot down really well. That's pretty surprising news. Hate to hear that, but it's next man up mentality on this team, and we may see that in this game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who steps up because Trevor Woods had made that move to linebacker, and it's going to be interesting to see who steps in to fill that with Gant and Juju Mitchell not either warming up or whatever. They might be playing, but Adam's not going to post that unless there's something going on here. Let's see. Here's another one.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, so Cormonty McLean's going to get the start tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. I like that matchup. That's going to be really good.
Yeah, this is his spot.
Really good.
It's a good spot for him to really step up, and this is where you talk about where you're waiting for your time and you're waiting for that spot to happen, and this is it. This is a spot for him to do that. So,
yeah. Well, so I think we have our game plan in. Our game plan that we came up with is, going to be run the ball. I think that even though in the last game our average rush was pathetic, it was under 3 yards per carry. It did what it was supposed to do, and it kept the ball out of Arizona's hands, and that gave us an opportunity to win. Missed field goal, botched fourth down, whatever, but we had an opportunity, and I think it was all set up by the run. Limit penalties. We've got to – Washington State is a very low penalized team, and we have to match that. If we give up double the amount, if we give up double the amount of penalty yards to them, it's going to hurt us. Dylan Edwards in space. Get him out on the side. Get him in the flat. Let's run the ball enough to get him out to the side, and then give him the ball. And again, against Washington State's defense, I think we're going to be fine. I think he's going to get the yards that we need in order to keep the ball moving, and then blitz the hell out of the left side of that line. Absolutely turn him inside out. And it really sucks that Trevor isn't on this list, because I was really, when I started to see this last week with the change they made at left tackle, I thought, man, he could take advantage of him. And all of our edges really could take advantage of that. So I think we're going to see some pretty big things out of Jordan Dominic tonight, going up against him. So read that Fourier is in the portal. Can you confirm? I don't know that Fourier is in the portal.
I just tried to look I saw that comment, and I've just tried to do some research on it. I can't find anything yet. I don't see anything to confirm that. That may just be a rumor at this point. Could be true, but it's still just a rumor right now.
Well, Fourier is at Colorado because his father played for Colorado as well. An All-American at Colorado. So so there's some big news coming out here. Here's another one from Adam. Let's see. Linebacker Demoy Kennedy and Jaden Milner-Jones both worked with the CU Bus first team defense during pregame reps. So it looks like we were talking about who's going to fill in.
Yeah,
Demoy Kennedy, baby. Yep. Yes, we need Demoy to show up tonight. Absolutely. I'm excited about that. And Jaden Milner-Jones has really done a really good job as of late, kind of plugging some gaps for us. So even though we're not going to have Trevor Woods tonight, it sounds like we might have a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel there. And but yeah, Freddie, I think Freddie asked, is Demoy starting? And Adam says that he worked out with the first team defense in the pregame rep. So it looks like he is going to be starting. So now comes the fun part. I hate projecting scores. It's like the one thing that I hate more than anything. I don't like to listen to people who come up with the scores, predicting scores, but we're going to do it this time because I think I have this one in the bag. So go ahead. I'm going to let you start, Greg.
Okay. I was just going to say about Milner Jones. That kid comes out of Texas. I remember when he went through recruiting. I think he went to. Was it SMU? I think he went to SMU, and he was pretty well recruited kid. He's talented. He played at DeSoto, which of course is a football powerhouse in Texas. So that could be a big spot for him to step up too. There's talent there. I've got a final score: Colorado 37 and Washington State 30. I just think there's a little more talent on one side of the ball than the other in this game, and I think that talent wins out. It's interesting how parallel these two teams have run, but I just like Colorado a little bit more in this one. Talent edge.
Okay. I like it. Now, what's the under-over in this? Did you say it was 58?
59.5, right at 60.
Okay. So I'm going to blow it up a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm going to say Colorado 41, Washington State 28. The reason why I say that is I honestly think going into the fourth quarter, it's going to be tight. It may be 28-21, something like that, 30-21 going into the fourth quarter. And then we are a fourth quarter team. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be different here. I think our, stamina is going to help us in the fourth quarter like it has all season.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to pull away from them in the fourth quarter. And I think that's where that 41-28 comes from.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be our most decided win. And I think coming out of this, we're going to be talking, and everybody in the country is going to be talking about the possibility that we could then roll up on Utah next week and steal a bowl game.
Good.
I honestly feel like that's going to happen.
Upsets
Now,
happen.
if it doesn't happen, then this video is going to get deleted about 30 seconds after the game. So that's the power of YouTube, baby.
Well, it's going to be
And
a fun
also
game.
edit out this last part. Really super simple.
Yeah.
If anybody else has a prediction, throw it up in the comments right now. Let's get some predictions going from a score standpoint. So jump in here. Freddie says the game is on FS1, Fubo or Sling. You can possibly see it on YouTube also. Yeah, somebody out there always I don't know, steals it and puts it on YouTube. And then I've seen it also where they steal it, put it on YouTube, and then they put like a link over the middle of the field so you can't see the field. But that's obviously a huge copyright issue. Yeah, FS1, you can actually, so I watch it on Sling. If anybody out there, is looking for a last minute thing, you can sign up for Sling. They have I want to say it's a 7-day trial or something like that, but you have to get the full package. You have to get the whole sports package, red, blue, white, yellow, green, red, all of them, just to get FS1. Yeah. Because Fox is like the hardest station to get if it's not the free Fox. Right. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but I upgraded today, and then obviously, I'll probably downgrade tomorrow. But but in any case, I also know that Fubo has it as well. I'm not sure. I used Fubo earlier in the season, and I kind of ditched it. All right, so Chris Alford says 41-38 CU.
I like it.
So I think it's a hybrid of our scores. Yeah. So that comes down to a field goal, and that's going to give me like nightmares, man. So DJ Big Rob says they can still go to a bowl game with 5 wins, so don't delete it so fast.
That's technically true. That has happened.
They can and they might, because in fact there's a lot of talk right now about how even if Colorado doesn't win 5 games, that someone's going to want them to play somebody. And
it's about viewership.
And I'll take it. I'll take any bowl game.
Sure.
The problem is I don't want to listen to everybody whine and complain about how Colorado is getting into a bowl game because of our coach.
Yeah.
I'd rather do it on merit. So I'm just going to say that.
I heard a coach one time talking about how important bowl games are.
Let's see, Freddie.
I heard a coach one time talking about how this was in Oklahoma, about how important those bowl games are, simply because it gives you a whole bunch of extra practices. And it gives you another game to prepare for going into the next season. So even if it's a really minor bowl game, it does a lot in building towards your following season. It gives you momentum. And if nothing else, just work and practice going into the following season. So it would be great. I don't care how many wins Colorado has. It would be great if they get to a bowl game. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. There's obviously going to be a lot of portal activity for every school. You've seen people posture about getting into it. You've seen people actually already get into the portal or say they're going to get into the portal. Not necessarily from Colorado. I'm talking about all over the country. People are talking about this big blow up that's happening now at Texas A&M, and the fact that 50% of their guys are going to jump in the portal because of a possible coaching change. Which, I don't know if that's true. I mean, at this point, obviously they're headhunting for some big names. So, you already know you have a good team and you may have a stellar coach coming in. And so I don't know how true that is or not, but I'll take them if they want to come.
Usually,
let's see. Freddie says 45-31.
I could see that.
So Freddie, you and I are on the same page. Mac Ent, you are correct. There is a lot of people not showing up. I think the biggest name that Adam Munster Tiger released was that Trevor Woods either didn't make the plane or isn't out there pregame. That's like enormous. They also came out with some other news that Cormani's going to be starting tonight, so he'll be starting the name. Demoy Kennedy is going to be starting linebacker. He's probably taking Trevor Woods' spot at linebacker. Let's see. DJ Rob says the biggest team in the nation. And then he also says, let them complain. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of getting burnt out on it. And then Macan, let's see. And then Max says Cormani is starting. So does anybody else have any predictions? Throw them down there. We're going to be on here for about another 5 minutes. And then we're going to kick it back over. I'm going to go open another beer and get my comfy shoes on and sit there and watch a game tonight with my finger on the delete button if we don't saddle this game like we need to. It's going to be it's going to be without, man, I don't know. I've been over these past 2 seasons, not having Trevor Woods in a game is scary to me. He's like my dark horse in every game, just because you never know what's going to happen with him, and he always shows up. So
he's a very consistent player on defense. Deal. Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think? Who do you think is going to show up in the running game tonight?
In the run game tonight?
Yeah. What running back do you think? Is it going to be Hank? Is it going to be Wilkerson? Or is it going to be Edwards that is our leading rusher tonight?
You know what? I'll go with Hankerson. I don't know if that's a little bit unexpected. I don't know why it would be unexpected. I like his quickness. I like his lateral game. Either one of them could explode. They could go 50-50 and just and gut this Washington State defense. Again, they're not very good at stopping the run either, and it's a good spot for them to establish themselves. So I'll go with Hank. I'll say Hank leads the team in rushing in this one, and let's say he gets a touchdown, and let's go with 115 yards.
Wow, that would be amazing. I'm telling you what, man, if we have a running back with over 100 yards, one running back with over 100 yards, I'm going on live after this game, and I'm going to crack a beer open, and I'm going to shotgun it live. I haven't done that in like 35 years. So.
Don't let my teenage son see that. He kind of
your teenage son.
You're kind of his hero, and he's going to be like, "Well, if Chris can do it, then I can do it too." So yeah.
Yeah, I would be so stinking excited, man. I'm a run guy. I love the physicality of a run game, and but I'm going to say this: I would love, because Hankerson is my guy. I love Hankerson. Been around for a couple of years there, and he was a bright shining star last year for us. I have a feeling about Wilkerson. I think Savion Wilkerson is going to be our leading rusher in this game. He is, I mean, just looking at some posts that he's placed, he is so hungry right now. And being that Coach Prime has history with him, and he's kind of like that bowling ball of a back, I think that he could put some yards up against this team. So I'm going to say Savion Wilkerson's going to be our number one rusher.
Okay.
Let's see. DJ says Colorado 42, Washington State 21. So he's predicting a blowout. 500 yards passing for Shedeur.
500 yards passing would be pretty amazing. I'm not going to say that's impossible. That's definitely possible against this defense.
They don't have a great pass defense.
Yeah.
So it's possible. But, you know, for 500 yards, I still think we need to run it a lot. But anyway, I would love to see him get 500 yards. All right, so Buff since birth, 45-30. We're loving these 40s, man.
Yeah.
Freddie D comes in and says Wilkerson and Hankerson over 100 yards.
100 yards each?
All right.
I'll shotgun a beer if that happens.
Oh, man.
We'll both shotgun beers together.
If we have two backs over 100 yards, I will come on live after the game, and I will shotgun 2 beers right before I go to bed. And keep in mind, I have to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. So this would be fun. I like this. This makes the game a little bit more exciting for me. All right, Wilkerson leading rusher. So Chris agrees with me.
Yeah.
Chris also gave us a thumbs up. So all good, and it looks like that is a wrap. We have done everything we needed to do. I'm going to put an X in the middle of the page. And someone owes me money, man. Someone owes me $100, and I'm trying to remember who it is. But when I was on DNVR, was it last week? It was last week before the game. I had predicted that we were going to run it more in the Arizona game than we had run it all season. And someone was jumping all over me and said they're not going to run it more than 15 times. So we made a bet, and the bet was that if I won and it was more than 16 times, 16 or more times, he was going to come on to my next live stream, which was tonight, and he was going to super chat $100 to me.
Ooh.
And then if he won, I was going to get him $100 buff card that he could buy, some buff gear with. Well, we ran it 30 times.
Even if
I'm concerned, that's double. So he owes me 200. I can't even remember who it is though. If anybody remembers, let me know. I'm having a hard time remembering this. I got to go back and look at that.
Even if you take Shadur's carries out of that game, the running backs combined, I think, for close to 20, 18 or 19,
yep.
something like that.
17 or 18. So, I want to say it was 18. And those were run specific. Yeah, those were run specific plays.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the bet. The bet was how many rushes.
Right.
So, and when Shadur runs the ball, that's a rush.
Sure.
And Shadur was the most prolific runner that we had in that game. So, so there you go. I mean, it's all on two. It's, in two we trust. We live or die by two. So I'm ready for that, man. He's going to carry it tonight. He's going to show Cam Ward that really he's the real Heisman winner here. I think he is. I got a couple more
I just want to see
here.
4 quarters of effort, man. No doubt. Same.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Get off to a fast start.
Yeah.
Get up to a fast start. Man, I would love to see us not defer. I would love to see us take the ball on the first on the first possession. I don't like to defer, man. I want to get the ball. I want to put it in Shadur's hands, and I want to spike it in the end zone and set the tempo for the game. That's just me, though.
That's aggressive.
All right. Well, that's it, Greg. You got any parting words?
We coming?
I think we're here, man.
I think we're here.
We missed it. We missed the last few games from the standpoint of, but we're still here. If we win, tonight is a must win. Tonight is a must
Absolutely.
win. We have to win tonight. If we don't win tonight, then, I don't even want to say it. We have to win tonight.
Win tonight and carry some momentum into Utah. And I'll tell you what, anything can happen in Provo. So it could be a crazy game, could be a fun game. You never know.
It's not the same Utah team as last year. So
that's correct.
I think that if we can win tonight by the score that I gave, which was 41-28, we can roll up into Pullman. We can be on the road. We can be in a short week, and we can go out there and we can dominate like that. I think we can beat Utah. I do. I think we can beat Utah, but we have to do this first here tonight. Yep. We have to show that we can stay committed to the run, rush 25 to 30 times. Yep. And, hopefully our average goes up against such a bad running defense.
For sure.
So we do those things. We're good. We blitz the heck out of them. We get Dylan in space, all the things we talked about. And I think we're going to be prime going into Utah, and we stand a really good chance of ending up 6-6.
Yeah.
And if we do, Coach of the Year for the Pac-12, probably Coach of the Year. I don't know, man.
Who else?
Washington's coach might.
Who else are you going to put on? Who else are you going to put there?
Oh, Jed Fish.
Yeah.
Arizona.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, if he keeps winning,
yeah.
But for us to go from 1-11 to 6-6, and then also to start out 3-0 and end up, 4-6.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, and end up 6-6. I still think that's a big deal. And
absolutely.
He's done more for this school this year than any coach has done for their whole school all year long. So I don't know. They probably won't count that in the whole coaching thing, but I still think that if we end up 6-6, which I still think we will, I still think Coach Prime deserves some credit somewhere.
Absolutely.
He's winning an award of some kind.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is a wrap from Alpine Garage Sports. Greg, thank you very much with us again tonight. You're always a lot of fun to be on here, and the chat was really good, guys. You guys did a great job. I got a couple more. We're going to win tonight. We are definitely beating Utah, transforming. You are a good person. And then hopefully we can afford to put Kavasier Smoke on the field tonight. Smoke
Don't think
did
that's
not
gonna
even
happen.
make the plane. Yeah, he didn't make the plane. So he's not coming out tonight, unfortunately. That was the news earlier in the show. So for those of you who showed up a little later in the show, go back and watch this a little bit. We still have some time before the game starts. And you'll see all of the highlights of the people that didn't show up today. And appreciate it. So Mia says, good show, guys. Greg, that's it. That's a wrap from Alpine Garage Sports. We will see you in the next video. We're shotgunning beers after the game if any running back hits 100 yards. So any running back hits 100 yards, we're shotgunning. We're shotgunning.
Woo!
All right.